Welcome back, everybody. I'm here to pull cards for July the 9th. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy and then one card for each sign, and we'll see how those energies interact with each other for the day. So, starting with overall energy, what do we have? We've got the Knight of Wands showing up in reverse. Knight of Wands in reverse talks about, first of all, taking some kind of action, because that's generally what knights mean. And wands talk about, things that are inspired, things that make us feel enthusiastic and maybe even passionate. So with this card coming up in reverse, this is telling me that there is the potential to be taking some type of action today that we are considering tedious or that we don't really have a lot of fire about actually accomplishing. This can be something like figuring out how much we owe in taxes. It's kind of a Knight of Wands type of activity. Doing inventory. Knight of Wands type of activity, at least as far as I'm concerned. Maybe some people get into that. That's not me. But there could be somebody who does. So let's take a peek at some of the individual signs' energy. This is a general reading, so if everything doesn't exactly apply to you, that's kind of to be expected, but most of it probably will. All right, so Aries. What you have showing up here is the Judgment card in reverse. So Aries, I think that you do have the opportunity to do something that you used to put your energies and efforts into at one point in time, but I see that whatever it is that you're doing here, this thing that needs to be done that you're not so thrilled about doing, is really keeping you from getting back into that thing from the past, at least for today, because you're very focused on just getting this thing done and over with and behind you is what it feels like for you, Aries. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at is going to be the card for Taurus. Nine of Swords showing up in reverse. So for Taurus, doing this thing that you're not feeling all that excited about, but you know you need to do, is actually bringing some stress relief. So this may be something that's kind of been hanging over your head for a while, and now that you're actually, getting on top of it, it does bring that stress relief, even though it's not a very happiness-making or exciting-making thing to actually do. Could be very tedious and boring. Still, it's just the relief that it's actually getting done. It's getting accomplished today. Okay, so next up, let's look at Gemini, King of Pentacles. Okay, Geminis, whatever this is that you're doing that you're not feeling all inspired about, that may be sort of tedious or boring, I think you're doing that because it helps you move forward with your budget, with your finances, with your financial goals, your financial plan, whatever that might happen to be. You know that that's adding to that. Now, looking at Cancers, the sun showing up in reverse. So Cancers, it looks to me like there's something going on here where you are sharing the truth with somebody in your sphere of influence, potentially a lot of somebody's with the Sun card coming up in reverse. So you could be teaching somebody, training somebody. Here's the thing. With this overall energy card, I don't think you're feeling very thrilled about whatever this is you're teaching or you're training. This could also even be having a conversation with somebody where you're being very open and honest and truthful with them. You're not feeling very excited about that conversation if it's just a one-on-one conversation. So whatever this is, I feel like you're sharing the truth, but you're not feeling really excited about actually doing that. Excuse me. So that was Cancer. Next we're going to look at Leo. Leo. Okay, so you've got the star showing up here. So this is interesting because the star talks about being hopeful. It also talks about knowing what your purpose is, what you're having a sense of direction, where you're headed, why you're doing things. And with this Knight of Wands showing up here in the overall, I think you're doing something today that is kind of tedious. It is kind of boring. It's sort of setting the foundation work, I think, for something that you are working towards. Maybe you're working towards setting that foundation on working towards your calling or your purpose. So even though setting that foundation work may not be very exciting, might be kind of boring, it is something that you're doing because you know that it is going to help you to reach your purpose or reach your goal. All right, so that was Leo's. Next up, let's look at Virgo. Virgos, you guys have the Ace of Swords showing up here. Ace of Swords. This is interesting. I really feel, Virgo, like whatever you're doing here with this collective energy, where you're doing something that's, tedious or boring, something you're not very excited about, it's almost something that you can do sort of without thinking. And so you can have your brain otherwise occupied, basically, so you can be thinking about other things. And I feel like with this, there's a mark on my card, I don't like that. Sorry. But I think with this Ace of Swords showing up here, I think that while you're doing whatever this tedious or boring thing is, there is some type of new epiphany or new understanding that you come to as you're working on this tedious thing and thinking about other things. I think you're getting a great idea or a great new understanding that really not only clears up one area of your life, but also clears up other things too. So a bunch of puzzle pieces kind of fall together as you get this new understanding of something that's been going on or how things work, or even people's psyche around you sometimes. Okay, so that was Virgo. Next up, let's look at Libra. So Libra, you guys have the world showing up in reverse, plus overall energy of the Knight of Wands in reverse. So with the Knight of Wands in reverse, you're definitely doing something here that you're finding tedious or boring. And as you're doing it, you're coming to a realization that there's something in your life that you thought you wanted, you thought you were reaching for, you thought it was the ideal, the target or the goal for you. And you're coming to this realization that, you know what, maybe what I thought I wanted is not actually ideal. Maybe I need to do a little bit of tweaking on that dream or that goal, that hope that I had. And I think that, having this time while you're doing this, but not having to really focus on it because it's not taking a lot of energy of thought, allows you to really think over this other thing, this other concept that you were viewing as ideal. And that may or may not be attached to whatever is the tedious work that you're doing over here. Okay? So that was for Libras. Next up, let's look at Scorpio. Magician showing up in reverse, Scorpios. Okay, so with the Magician in reverse and the overall of the Knight of Wands in reverse, we're doing something that we know we need to do. It may be tedious, it may be boring, it's not very exciting at all, at all. And with the Magician in reverse, this just tells me that we're feeling really frustrated because whatever this is that we know we need to do is also taking us away from what we want to do, what we do get really excited about, what we like to do that manifests good things for us in our lives. So we're doing this, basically this is some kind of chore that has to be accomplished, pulling us away from the fun stuff that we like to accomplish. And so there is that sense of frustration there that we have to do this. So hopefully this won't take very long. That's what I'm hoping for. Sagittarius, you're up next. Okay, so Sagittarius, Eight of Pentacles reversed, along with an overall energy of the Knight of Wands reversed. So Knight of Wands reversed just means that you have some kind of task or chore that needs to get accomplished that does not take a lot of creative juices. In fact, can be quite tedious and boring. With this Eight of Pentacles showing up in your energy in the reverse, this is just saying, you know what? I'm not doing that. I am just distracting myself. I am going to focus on making sure all of my best candles are in the perfect place in the house. I'm going to redo all my feng shui. I'm going to binge watch Netflix. I am going to figure out how many hairs my cat has on his body. I'm going to do anything but whatever this tedious chore is. I do not want to be bored. I do not want to go through that tedium. So a lot of escapist behavior actually happening here, Sagittarius. A lot of procrastination going on, keeping you from getting this accomplished. So it will remain hanging over your head after today's done and gone unless you do something about this energy right now. Okay, so now let's move on to Capricorn. Three of Cups. All right, we like that. So, Knight of Wands showing up in reverse in the collective energy along with your energy of the Three of Cups. This just tells me that you are doing something that is tedious, that is boring, that doesn't take a lot of creative juices. But whatever this is that you're doing it along with friends, which is making it a little bit more bearable than it would otherwise be. This is not something you have to put a whole lot of thought into. So you can do something like this along with friends and have some great conversations and just have a good time out of it. And I think that's what you're doing today, Capricorn. Next up, we have Aquarius. Eight of Cups coming up in reverse, along with the overall energy of the Knight of Wands in reverse, just says that there is some kind of task that you would consider to be boring or tedious, not very pleasant, that you have attempted to do before, but you just couldn't find it in yourself. Now with this Eight of Cups in reverse, you're walking back to that task and working on making progress with it, if not completing it today. So just really working on something that is not, very exciting to work on, but that that needs to be done. So getting back to that and working on it some more or again, however you want to look at that there. All right, next up, let's look at Pisces. Pisces, Three of Wands in reverse, showing up with an overall energy of Knight of Wands in reverse, just means that um, I think you're definitely doing something that is not very creative, that's tedious or boring. And I think that you were not planning on doing this, and you're also not planning on making this a regular thing. So I think that this is kind of something that just came up and you realize, okay, I have to do this now. Let me set some other things aside so I can get this taken care of. You're planning on taking care of it as quickly as possible. You're not coming back to it, whatever this is. Once you're done with it today, you're done with it. Kind of like it. It's that whole let's get it over with type of energy. So very good for you, Pisces. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. Looking forward to working together with some of you personally later on today, and the rest of you I'll see back on my next video. Peace out.